Hello, happy Winning Wednesday, everyone. Oh my goodness. Um, I had to run downstairs before the live because the kids were arguing and there was something burning. That being said, the oldest is making eggs and she does such an excellent job at making eggs. And the youngest has this thing with only wanting egg whites. And so there was an argument over, them becoming scrambled eggs and also half of the, when she was cracking the eggs, half of her cracking the egg on the side of the pan caused, some of the egg to come down and get on the burner. And of course, it's making quite a smell. So, that being said, happy solstice. We just went through solstice on Monday, right? Monday? Yep, Monday. So, before we get into everything, let's go ahead and just ground because I was running around like, oh my God, what the heck is happening down here? So we're just all gonna ground together. Because I know a lot of us have busy mornings, and of course, there's the noise of everything going on and happening in your life right now. So I just want to offer you just a moment to land. So just take a nice deep breath in with me. If it is safe to do so, you can close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and just real breath in through your nose, all the way down deep into your belly. And maybe let it out with a sigh out your mouth. And let's do one more. Deep breath in through your nose. And let it out with a sigh in your mouth. Good. Now feeling your feet on your floor. And the weight of your body in your chair. Or wherever you're sitting. You don't have to be anywhere else right now. You don't have to fix anything or perform anything or, have it all together. You just have to be here. And you already are. So we're starting in a good place. All right, so come back. You can open your eyes. So I want to talk about a lot today. We just, of course, came through the summer solstice. There is a lot that is alive in the field right now, energetically. And we also have like the solar flares that are coming, and this kind of up until this full moon that's happening on the 29th, it is very, very energetically charged. So there's some things that I generally want you to sit with. Know that it is normal if you are all over the place or tired or, whatever else is going on. My deep sleep is suffering right now. But we're also going to talk about Chiron. We're going to talk about retrograde shadow, what light actually means, and what the season is asking of us at the, like the deepest levels. So that's talking about the mass, the programs, the identity underneath all of it. So first and foremost, I want to talk about grounding because everything I just listed gets more activated and more loud and more pressing. And the most important thing you can do is not move faster and not push through. Like essentially what we need to be doing is getting more rooted. We need to get into all of that. So let's start with where we are. So Monday's summer solstice was longest day of the year. And I don't want to just acknowledge it as, like this isn't just a calendar moment, because what happened was actually generally significant. So every solstice is kind of like a threshold or like a reset point. And it's the point where one energetic cycle is going to complete and then a new one begins. So you kind of think of it like as a tide turning or a moment of stillness, of maximum, and then everything starts to shift directions. And this particular solstice is not, it's not happening in isolation. It's actually in the middle of a larger set of cosmic conversations that they're all saying kind of the same thing in different ways. So this is a time of restructuring. We know that there's a mass awakening going on right now, that there's a lot of energies going on right now, light codes and all the things. But in the sense of restructuring, a lot of things are getting seen, and we're also doing a lot of foundation work. So it's a look at honestly what has been running in the background and deciding whether or not you want to keep those things running, or whether you are ready to, maybe lay down a different foundation or solidify it, or whatever it, like in terms of building, I guess, like it is not coming to me right now, but reinforcing things and making sure it's sound, or maybe laying something different down. So I want to talk about Chiron first, because I think this is a really important piece of context for everything else I am going to say. So Chiron is known in astrology as the wounded healer. So it moves in roughly 8-year cycles. So it spends 8 years in every zodiac sign doing deep, specific, emotional, layered work before it transitions to the next sign. So past 8 years, Chiron has been in Aries. So if you think about what these last 8 years have been asking of you, Aries rules identity, the self, the I am, it's the very first, most fundamental sense of who you are as a person. And of course, it's the first zodiac sign in the chart. But Chiron in Aries has been sitting in this wound, in that first tender place, asking all of us, to look at where we do not believe we have the right to fully exist, to take up space, to, assert ourselves, and to say I matter without immediately, softening it or downgrading it, or being humble, right? Or apologizing, or making ourselves smaller so that other people can feel more comfortable. So for some of you, myself included, these past 8 years have been quite profound in activating, and honestly really hard. Maybe your sense of identity got cracked open, and maybe you went through a career change, or a relationship ending, or a spiritual awakening, or a health crisis, or something that maybe fundamentally challenged who you thought you were and asked you to rebuild from a different foundation. So maybe you started to realize that the version of yourself that you have been presenting to the world is not actually you. That the mask had gotten so comfortable, it started to feel like, this is who I am, this is my real face. And so that has been Chiron and Aries doing its work. Now Chiron has moved into Taurus. So Taurus rules self-worth and resources and money and abundance, and physical body, deep embodied belief that you are allowed to have what you desire, and that you are worth investing in, that good things are not reserved for other people, and you have to earn your way into them by suffering enough first, right? So the progression is not random here. First we heal who we are, right? Now we're being asked to heal what we believe we deserve. So because you can do years of identity work and still have a nervous system that's, that will not let abundance land, you can know who you are and still undercharge, or overgive, or shrink your offers, or minimize your worth, or say yes when you actually really mean no. Because the self-worth wound, it's a different layer than the identity wound. It's the next 6 months are going to press on this directly. So I want you to hear that, not as pressure, but information. This is something that we need to know, right? Like, so the universe is not punishing you. It's pointing a flashlight at something. It is time to heal. So what light, this brings me to what light actually means. So like when we think about summer solstice, it's the longest day of the year, we have the most light in a day, right? We do have, and I feel like a lot of people have like this collective understanding or misunderstanding of what light means in the context of spiritual growth, because we talk about, light coming in, and we talk about season of illumination or high frequency or activation, and most people hear that and they imagine like good things arriving, like new opportunities showing up, clarity, something beautiful coming in from the outside that's going to make everything easier and brighter and better, and like all puppies and rainbows, right? And it's not wrong exactly, but it is incomplete. It actually misses the part that actually matters, because light does not just reveal what is beautiful and opportunities and bringing your awareness more outward, like your what you see coming in outward. Like, light reveals everything. That's including the corners that have been dark for a long time, the shadows, right? Including the things that we tucked around and told ourselves we would just deal with later, including the patterns that we normalized in because we've been living with them so long that they just feel like us, right? So when more light comes in, it's shedding a light. Like, the first thing it does is it shines down into the shadowy areas that we've been not aware of, not that we've been neglecting or trying not to, like we're pushing it away because we didn't really want to see it. So think about it physically. When you walk into a room that has been dark for so long and you turn on the light, first thing you notice is the dust, the cobwebs, whatever it is, like all the things that need attention, that have been neglected for so long, all the stuff that was always there that you couldn't see it clearly. And so the light in and of itself, it didn't create that mess, right? Like, it's revealing it. And now you have a choice. You can turn the light back off and pretend you didn't see it, or you can actually deal with what is in there. So this is what a high frequency season actually does. This is what solstice energy does. This is what Chiron does. It turns a light on and it asks, like, are you ready to see what has been here all along that you've been avoiding? And the opportunities and the beautiful things and, those that come through the healing. So not instead of, but they come because you're clearing the space for them. You're opening up for them because you stopped using the energy to maintain the old patterns, and now the energy is available for something that it's actually aligned with who you are becoming. So I want to talk about just briefly about the retrograde, because it actually does kind of fit perfectly into this conversation. So we're currently in a shadow period before the full moon, and Mercury goes into retrograde on June 29th. So I know some of you might have tensed when I said Mercury retrograde, because it's gotten this reputation for being disruptive and inconvenient, and like all the electronics do chaotic things. And so it can feel that way. But I want to offer a different perspective on it, a different way of thinking. Because retrograde is actually a mirror. When a planet goes into retrograde, like it appears to actually be moving backwards, right, from our vantage point on Earth. And so energetically, what that creates is a reviewing, a revisiting, like turning back to look at where we there was something that we moved past too quickly. We didn't like fully integrate. We didn't fully heal. So Mercury in particular, it does govern communication and thought patterns and the way we process and express information. So when Mercury goes into retrograde, what gets reflected back is all the places maybe our communication has been unclear, all the agreements we made without really like digging deep or looking into them or examining them, or maybe thoughts that we had have been running on autopilot. which consequently, we're going through that in everyday quantum right now. We're looking at our thoughts. So, all these ways that we've been telling a story that no longer fits. And it's not, none of this is there to punish you. It's like, it is there to make sure you have actually seen what you need to see before you move forward. It's basically holding up a mirror and saying, look, like really look, what is here? And what's significant about this right now is we're in the shadow period, which means Mercury is already starting to slow down, already asking us to start paying attention. And so the conversations you have before June 29th matter. The intentions you set matter. The decisions you make before then carry a particular kind of weight because you're making them with full visibility before the mirror fully goes up. So use that. Now, I want to talk about one thing or something that I think that is one of the most significant things happening right now for the people in this space, and it connects everything we have been discussing, because hiding is getting a little bit harder. And we've seen this, like literally, we've seen this in the public eye. We've seen this in politics, you know. The energy right now is not hospitable to performance. It's not hospitable to, it is super hard to say that word for some reason, but it's to showing up as a version of yourself that we are carefully designed to gain approval and to be palatable, to not rock the boat, to stay safely inside the version of you that the people around you are comfortable with. So it's getting harder to maintain. And for some of you, it is actively downright uncomfortable right now. Like, because you have been living inside of a particular self-concept for years, like, and maybe decades, you know, like maybe your whole life, that self-concept that kept you safe, that, you know, like you earned your belonging, you protected you from rejection. It now something in you and something in the field is asking you to put it down. So let me be really clear about something, because I think this does get misunderstood. This is not about ego death. That is very jarring to the system. We've lived with our ego for, however many years you've been on this earth up until now. I hear this phrase in spiritual spaces, like, and I want to address it directly, because it does not, like, I think it actually does more harm than good, because the ego is not your enemy. Like, you need your ego. Ego needs to be there. Healthy ego is actually essential. Like, it's a part of you that knows you exist, that you can hold your identity, that allows you to show up in the world as a distinctive individual with desires and preferences and boundaries and perspective. So without functioning ego, you cannot do anything. Like, you cannot hold a job. You can't maintain friendships. You can't be of service to anyone. Like, the goal is not to destroy the ego. The goal is to free it from the programs that have been running it. So that's, different thing entirely. But the programs are the problem. The conditioning, the rules you absorbed about who you were allowed to be, how much space you were allowed to take up, what you were allowed to want, and the story that said, make yourself smaller and people will love you. Don't be too much, don't be too loud, don't be too different, too visible, right? Like, the identity that got built not from who you actually are, but who is safest to be in the environment that you grew up in. So letting go of the programs while keeping your ego healthy is the work. Like, it is generally some of the hardest work there is, of course, but because those programs have been there for so long and they actually start to feel like you, they feel like your identity, but the mask has been on so long that it started to feel like your real face. And taking it off, yeah, that's disorienting. It doesn't feel good. Like, it's hard to describe until you have actually been through it. And it can feel like you're losing something, because you've known yourself as this person up until now. Like, it could feel like grief. It could, like, even when the thing you're losing was actually never yours to begin with. but it's been familiar. So I want to say this with so much love because I understand why the mask felt necessary. Like, I understand why performing the version of you that people approved of felt safer and showing up as than actually showing up as who you are. Like, for most of us, that was not irrational. Like, there is an intelligent adaptation to a real environment, and the version of you that learned to perform was not broken. It was simply doing its job. It was keeping you connected to the people and the places that matter to you. But you're not 7 years old anymore. And the environment you're in right now is not the same environment that required that strategy. So the energy of this season is making that clearer and clearer, whether you are consciously engaged with it or not. Like, for the healers in this space, for the coaches, the facilitators, the breath workers, the teachers, for the singers and the creatives and the actors and artists and the people who carry gifts that have been quietly dimming because the world around them was not, maybe the world around them wasn't always ready for the full wattage of what they carry. I want to say this directly to you. These next years are the most empowering years that you have access to. And I just got the chills. The frequency that is here right now, the light that is coming in, Chiron work, the work being done on self-worth, collective readiness for something real over something that's been polished and printed, like made sure it was perfect, right? Like all the, creating conditions that have never really existed quite in this way before. Like, the world is tired of performance. It's hungry for genuine people, authentic people. Like, it's ready for people who will show up all the way with their real voice, their real gifts, like real presence. And not because they've been given permission to, but because they decided they're going to stop waiting for it. So if you have been holding your voice back or dimming your gifts or showing up as the safe, smaller version of yourself because you're not sure the world could handle the real thing, I'm asking you to reconsider that. Because the world doesn't just need the real thing. It needs, the world's starving for it. Like, it's standing in your full expression is not just good for you. It's actually an act of service to everyone around you, because now they can get what they need. They can see you out there. So here's what I want to land with this, because I have spent the last several minutes talking about a lot of big, activating, like, significant energies. And if you're feeling some version of, okay, this is a lot, that is a completely appropriate response, because yeah, it is a lot. And the most important thing I can tell you about navigating a season like this is the bigger the expansion, the deeper your roots need to go. A lot of us, grounding is not optional right now. A lot of us want to live out in fucking space and be in the woo and like do the meditations and feel good and all that kind of things, all those things. But the thing is, like, we need to ground into the earth. It's not, a nice addition to your practice that you get to do when everything is done. Like, it's foundational. It makes everything possible, because all this work, the identity work, the self-worth work, the authentic expression of yourself work, like, it all happens in the body, in a nervous system. And the nervous system is dysregulated. Your body is running in survival mode. And if you're operating from a state of chronic stress or depletion, you will not have access to higher frequencies or insights this season's trying to deliver to you. You will be too activated to receive them. So that's why your self-care is not selfish right now. That's not laziness when you rest. Your mornings that belong to you, your practice, your meals, your movement, your quiet time, those actually aren't indulgences. Like they are infrastructure, and that's how you stay coherent while the world around you and the field inside of you are all going through these significant changes. So I want to name something that does not get talked about enough. Ding. Confirmation. But when you start letting go of old programs, when the masks start coming off, when you begin to step into a more authentic version of yourself, there is almost always a period of feeling unmoored, of feeling like you do not quite know who you are anymore. Like the old way of doing things doesn't fit, and the new ways of feeling is not fully formed yet. So you're kind of like in this liminal space in between. You're standing in the gap between them, and that's normal. This is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. Like we are wired to grow. Constant growth is actually the natural state of a living system. And so this disorientation and feeling like you're in between identities or worlds, like it's not pathological, it's actually the process. It is what stepping out of the old container feels like before the new one has fully formed. It does feel jarring, like especially when the old way was keeping you safe for so long, especially when the mask was genuinely effective at getting you love and belonging and approval and connection. Stepping out of a strategy that worked, even when you know it was not fully you, requires this kind of like courage, and it's hard to describe to anyone who's not been in it, right? Like, so here's what I want to offer you. You do not have to have it all figured out before you begin, because readiness isn't, it's not a prerequisite. It is a myth we tell ourselves so that we can stay safe. And confidence does not arrive before the leap. It gets built in the process of leaping, in the process of doing the thing that you're scared of. So one new thought, it can change your trajectory. Like one honest conversation, one decision made from your actual self instead of your performing self. One morning where you show up as you are instead of who you thought you're supposed to be. So the roots go down at the same time that the branches reach out. That's how trees work, right? Like if we didn't have roots, the tree would just fall over. And that's how we work too. So today I want to invite you to do something simple. Like wherever you are right now, just feel your feet. Feel them on the floor or in your socks or against the earth if you're outside. Like let your attention drop down out of your head and into your body, and take the breath that goes all the way down to your belly. And just for this moment, let the earth hold you. You do not have to figure it all out. You just have to be here, rooted, open, willing. And that is enough. That's actually everything. So to close this all out, we just crossed the solstice. Chiron is in Taurus, and it's going to be, looking at our self-worth wound for the next several years. The retrograde mirror is coming on the 29th. We're already in its shadow. The light that is here right now is shining into corners and revealing things that are ready to be seen and ready to be healed. And you are here on this, live on this call. That means something in you has already said yes and already answered the invitation. So I want you to trust that instinct. Keep trusting it. Last note before I sign out here. We're also having the healing day coming up on June 25th. It's on Thursday. Because we are in this liminal space, it's like the perfect time to do this. And I genuinely want you there. Like cosmic energy on that date is some of the most open, warm, affectionate, and possibility forward energy we can get. So Cancer season's holding us. Venus in Leo is asking us to love out loud. Sagittarius moon is bringing optimism and expansion. Like we're setting intentions before Mercury slows everything down for review. So come plant something in that soil with me. So Thursday, the 25th, which is tomorrow. It's tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be doing it live on Zoom. It is completely free. So bring a friend if, you love them. And of course, like, thank you so much for being here today. I really hope to see you there, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing week. Ding. Bye now. Love you guys.